In this demonstration, we have the DsoNano powered up. We have the USB cable connected to a computer with Windows XP, and we're looking at the Explorer window on Windows XP. Notice Drive F down here. Drive F right here would be the removable SD card from the Nano. If I left click on it, it says please insert a drive disk. So let's go ahead and push in a disk. Okay, we now have a disk inserted. It brings up a window. First thing we want to do is to format it. So we'll right click, do format, and start it. It takes a few seconds, so we'll pause till the format is finished. Once format is completed, we'll acknowledge that and we'll close the formatter. So now if we right click on the disk, properties, you find out it's 1.83 gigabytes. It's actually those number of bytes. Say OK. At this point I'm going to take the DsoNano, I'm going to save a measurement file just by selecting ME on the menu and holding the M button for a long period of time. And you see it writes an a 002 file. That's what it does. So we'll go back and look at it now and notice there's a 002 BMP file. And that is the measurement screen that we just saved. So at this time I want to go back to the root, and I want to use another program called SD Formatter. This is version 2.3, and we're going to do a refresh, and you notice it finds the drive, F drive 1.83. We're going to format it with all the default options, and it runs through the percentages, and it eventually formats the SD card. It tells the results. As we picked up, it's 800K here. Windows is a little bit less. So I'm going to exit that program. And I prefer to use Windows. The reason I use Windows is because Windows allows me to give the SD card a volume name, where the SD formatter does not. So I'm going to click on Properties. Excuse me, made a mistake. So I'm going to format the drive one more time using FAT. Notice FAT choice is FAT. That means FAT16. We'll give it a volume label. The 16 tells me it's FAT16. Start the format, and we'll pause until the format is finished. Okay, the format's nearly finished. We're waiting for the final prompt. Here it is, format's complete. We say OK. Go ahead and close the format window. We look at the drive again. Notice there's no files there. So once again, I'll use the ME save function on the DsoNano. Now we should have a file number 3. If we do a view refresh, we'll see there's an image folder which Nano created, and we have file number 3. So that's how you format the DsoNano SD cards. I prefer Windows XP because, like I say now, when I plug this in later, I'll know that that's a DsoNano because it tells me. The SD formatter does not. Just to prove that the volume label went with the SD card and not the device, the Nano, I took the card out, put it in an adapter, plugged it into a USB card reader, and plugged it in, and notice now we have DsoNano 16 as drive I. F is missing because F is the DsoNano. It's not here right now, it's unplugged. The USB card reader is plugged in. If we click on it, you notice we still have the image. So it does in fact name the card and not the device. Okay, at this time we have the DsoNano turned on. There's no SD card in it. We have our probe compensator signal coming in, and there's no USB connection to the DsoNano. And we'll go down here and try to use the file menu, and we'll try to save a file. First one by holding M. Notice it says there's no card. So I'm going to leave that area, plug in the card. Okay, at this time the card's plugged in. We give the DsoNano a little bit to settle down. We'll go back down here to the file menu. We'll try to save it again. It says SD error. So apparently the DsoNano doesn't look at the format of the card except when it's powered up. So right now we have an SD error. So let's see if we can repeat that. Yes, it didn't lock up. SD error. So let's turn the DsoNano off with the card in it. It's a known good formatted card. Repeat the process. Come down here. I'm going to save the top item. Save the top item. Hold the M key. You notice it does in fact work. So that's something to keep in mind right now with version 3.4. The SD card should be in the Nano when you first power up the Nano, or you may have issues. Okay, at this time you can see that we have the probe compensator connected, as we have in all the previous lessons. And what we're going to do is check out the save image function. All you do is scroll to what you want to save. In this case, we're going to save the image. And once you get there, at the bottom, you can use your right arrow to change the file names. Notice, as has been warned, if you overwrite the file name, too bad. So you better know where you're saving it. So simply hold the M key, and you see the red lines at the bottom down here. The red is gone now, but it was showing that it was saving the file. So now the file is saved. That's one type of file save indication you get. Another example, we come down to save the buffer. And it's going to save it at 01 XML. So if we hold the M key, notice it also has the red highlight showing that it's saving it. So we come back, we'll save the profile. Notice the profile, you can save it in the flash memory. That'd be a typical use, put it in the flash memory that way. When you power on a unit that uses that profile. If you want to, you can also place the profile in a file by using the right arrow or left arrow key to scroll around. See if left arrow works. No, right arrow key. Select a file, and we'll select one config. So we hold the M key. Notice all this does, it just blanks. It changed from a S001 to S002 when it saves the config file. Doesn't give you any red indication. If it did, it's so quick I didn't see it. And it also, well, that's it. What more can I say? Okay, the other things we can do here, we can load a profile. Notice it defaults to the flash. We can also scroll around different file locations. And the other thing I want to talk about is show a reference. If you come down here at the bottom, notice it says hide reference down here at the bottom, hide reference. If we right arrow, it will show the reference. That's the factory reference. That reference is always there as a show reference anytime you turn on the unit. It's hard coded into the firmware. Once you load or save, let's, for example, let's save a reference. First, let's turn off the hide. So we hide the reference. Now we go up here and we save a reference. Notice our options, we can save them to files. We'll put it in a S001 data file. Hold the M key. Once again, it simply updates the file name once it's finished to save.
Now if we go back here and we show the reference, it's still showing the fact one. Okay, I guess you have to load it first. Sorry about that. So let's load a reference. And we'll load the only one we have, which is number 1. Notice the arrow keys won't do anything. So we hit the M key to load it. Now it's loaded OK. Now when we go back and we show the reference, we can hide and show the reference. Notice the change in color. When we hide the reference, we see the magenta normal square wave. When we show the reference, I'll pull off the probe compensator signal. Of course, we're not being triggered either. Put a trigger mode in auto. That's part of the problem. You can see that show reference, use the right arrow, hide reference. It's still storing the last sweep that it found because I was in normal sweep up here. If I go to auto sweep for a moment, go to auto sweep, leave that, and then come back down here. And then you see that hide the reference, show the reference works properly without the signal. One point, I'll repeat it again, if you turn off the unit, turn it back on, unit defaults back to the old standard reference. So if we come down here, and we go down and we show the reference, and sure enough it's the old standard one. So you can't get rid of that unless you actually load another reference, then it's gone until the next power cycle. When you save the image, you simply get the screen. There's another feature here available that you may not be aware of. We'll turn this off. We'll go up here to the measurement function. The measurement function, as you know, has these options. But if you hold the M key, watch at the bottom right corner of the screen, it just saved a BMP file. For those who didn't catch it, right down here when we hold the extended M key, I'll do it again, it creates a BMP file. That BMP file includes this entire screen just like the other file did, only it also includes all the measurement properties. So that could be very handy if you want to have the measurement information along with your waveform. Disadvantage is it covers up part of the waveform. So what you could do is save both. You can come down here, save the image, and go back up here, save the whole thing with the measurement parameters. Because I like to do negative testing, I thought, you know, if holding this M key had some surprises, let's see where else we can find a surprise. And there is one other place I found a surprise. You go down here to your frequency selections. Notice it says 1 kilohertz down here at the bottom. 1 kilohertz. If you hold the M key, it'll step to the next digit. So now you make it 1200 kilohertz. If you hold the M key again, steps to the third digit. Now you make it 1210 hertz, or 1.21 kilohertz. So that's an interesting find. Ben mentions it in the manual that he has 3 digits, but I didn't really see any place that said how you do it. This is how you do it. Extended M key shifts the character position. So do it again, it wraps back to the first one. So that's interesting for those that like to find surprises.
Some of you sharper tools out there in the tool shed may have noticed during the file I/O that the waveform display from the probe compensator signal gets distorted. This also happens during SD formatting, which is happening right now in this particular video clip. During the SD formatting, the CPU loses time cycles to the SD format process. Therefore, they're not available to properly update the waveform on the screen. Therefore, the screen becomes distorted.